Gentlemen, and welcome at this live demonstration of the L&D Pro, a software program developed by Taxbox. My name is Rizal van Jaarsveld. I'm the Business Development Manager for Taxbox. So what can I say? L&D Pro, a robust, easy-to-use desktop software program developed by Taxbox, like I said. And the reason why we designed this software is for the management and drafting of your L&D account for deceased estates. We are incredibly excited to show you what sets the L&D Pro apart in the legal estate administration space. We've carefully built this software program to meet the practical needs of estate administrators, legal professionals, and executors alike, providing a comprehensive, automated, and compliant solutions aligned with the requirements of the Master's Office, because that's really the difference between your L&D account being accepted or not by the Master's Office. So we've spent a lot of time on that. So it doesn't matter how many states you handle, this software program allows for unlimited number of deceased estates to be added, which is really nice. And then also during today's demonstration, I will walk you through the software's core features, including a fully automated L&D account generated from just data inputs across structured tabs like assets and liabilities, distribution, estate duty, and more. I'm also going to show you some really awesome built-in capital gains tax calculators, estate duty calculators, taking the guesswork out of complex computations. I do need to mention to you that we are releasing a new update today. So all of our clients that have already purchased the software will receive a new download link to override the one that they have. So you will see now in the session today the changes that were made. In fact, the most relevant one is the estate duty standalone calculator. We felt was a bit lacking, a little bit too basic, and so we expanded on that, which is awesome. And then the ability to create and manage multiple executrix profiles with flexible fee settings per estate. As you know, the norm before up to death and after death is different. And obviously you can set it according to a percentage or a fixed amount according to what was agreed on beforehand. Also a secure document vault for storing and linking your relevant estate documents with simple drag and drop functionality. And then finally, a checklist, a customizable checklist for every estate type, helping you track tasks and progress effortlessly. And then, of course, also a recap statement. And we've added print buttons on all our tabs so that every single step that you use to capture data is printable, which will be in the new update. So that is all from me in terms of an introduction. I'm quickly going to switch off my video and share my screen. Here we go. So when you open up, you just use the expand button, because I use a 27-inch second screen. So obviously it will fill up the screen quite nicely if you just use the expand button. And of course, we start with the dashboard. There's other options here, categories you can set, of course, if it's an asset, if it's a liability. There is pre-populated items set in here already, but this is where you set up an expense that's not been set up in the system already, or an income liability. So quite easy. Templates we will look at. There you set up your executor profiles. These are some of the reports. Of course, we are going to expand on that, but for now, it's only an estate list and a progress report, because as you look into the software program, each tab is printable, not necessarily part of reports, but you will see that every single thing that you capture can be printed. And then our calculators, the estate duty, capital gains tax calculator, and of course, the user guide, which is a PDF document. And the way that we've structured this user guide is to help any person that has never had any knowledge on deceased estates and never worked the software before, can take the user manual and navigate themselves through the software effortlessly. So also a very nice way to skill up your staff, your clerks, the people that is probably going to do most of the capturing. Okay, so how do we begin? Dashboard. And it opened up to a whole new world. So of course we work from left to right. Sorry, just want to, it will be like that because just of the size of my screen. But all your deceased estates are then added here on the left. These are the ones that you've already added. And of course, as soon as you click on your deceased estate, it opens up the main screen for capture. Okay. So of course, if you want to add a new deceased estate, you can see the information that is needed is quite comprehensive. It is necessary to complete as much information as possible because a lot of the information also pulls through on some of the reports and ultimately on the L&D account. So I'm just going to make up some random names here. And just random ID numbers. Is that now enough? You have to specify if it's a male or a female, of course. 123 Street Road in Bellville, Cape Town, 7530, I think. Of course, the date of death is the most important part. Let's say it was quite recently on the 4th of June. The marital status, as you know, with anything that we do, tax or estate duty or deceased estates, the marital regime is important when you are married. You have to specify if it's in community or property or not, with or without accrual. So you'll see all the options are there. So I'm just going to say with accrual. Okay. And then the spouse's name is Yanni Doe. And then, of course, you can also need to add his or her details. Then you can link an executive profile here. So I've already got pre-populated executives in the program. Let's say I'm the executive for this one. Let's calculate the executive fees. Let's calculate the executive fees on income. And then, of course, these dates here will pre-populate on the L&D account as well, because there is a paragraph that needs to state last will and testament of so-and-so on this date. Okay, so that is probably the heading of the L&D account. Last will and testament date, let's say they actually updated it quite recently, 01/2025. The date it was signed was the next day and the next day. Okay, so gender is male. Yanni is male. Sorry, you can see for every person that you specify in the program, you have to specify if it's a male or a female. Okay, there we go. So there's Jessie Doe. Now you can start capturing all your information. We're going to start with assets and liabilities. So of course you will, that's the main primary tab. Okay, nothing there yet. And then under liabilities, you can either choose assets or liabilities. And under the liabilities, you need to specify if it is admin cost or creditors. So we just insert, and it gives you an option here to add. So 123 Street, Bellville, Cape Town, 7530. Now, what is interesting is if you click here, you can see a lot of space to specify and describe your specific asset, which is vital in compiling an L&D account. The more descriptive you are with an asset, the better for everybody. So you can see there is really no limit on the description. So I'm going to add, let's say it is 3.950 million. And a voucher number is just to allocate the sequence that it's going to reflect on the L&D account. Now, again, there is a specific sequence, as you know, that needs to follow on the L&D account. So it's assets first, immovable property first, then movable property. But the user manual actually tells you what the sequence is, the correct sequence. So I urge you to really go through the user manual also just for some clarity to understand how the data entries affect the L&D account ultimately. Okay, so the sort is actually the sequence. And then here you need to advise, is it a recap? Must it be on the recapitulation statement or not? And this is everything that is in cash, of course, all the cash transactions. And then just, you can see it also adds up your total asset value at the bottom. So this is really nice to make sure that everything is being captured. You reconcile with the value of the assets, and you are also able to print it to PDF. Now, administration cost and creditors is obviously two different categories. You need to know which expenses would fall into administration costs and which expenses would fall into creditors. Again, our user manual does explain all of these well. So when you capture anything under administration cost, you're either going to specify, is it an administration cost, is it a fee, or is it an advance? Okay, so let's say it's an administration cost. For example, the tombstone or the funeral costs. Tombstone, not sure how much it costs likely. Okay, and it is highly unlikely that any of the administration costs and creditors are not going to be cash transactions. So let's add another administration cost. Whoopsie. Do you want to save the entry? Yes. And let's say funeral costs. Okay. I mean, these things are quite expensive nowadays. Cool. And then you can just enter to save the entry. Then on the creditors tab, the same norm is you need to say it's claims against the estate. That's the only drop-down option. And here is basically all the expenses that the deceased estate is responsible for to settle. Okay. So for example, let's say the income tax for 2015 was outstanding. Whoopsie. 3,600 Rand. And I mean, that is cash. Let's say there was a TV license that was up for renewal of, I don't know, 450 Rand. Okay, so of course, this is now where all the capturing starts. You have to capture all the expenses that have to be paid by the deceased estate, gardening services. Okay, I'm just filling in one or two or three of each just to give us an idea of what it will look like in the end. There we go. And then we move over to the recap statement. So every box that you've ticked here will now show here, okay, which you can print. The next tab is notes. Now, the notes is obviously for internal use and for external use. Oh, I'm going to show the admin cost, the drop down for the admin cost again. It is advances, fees, and administration cost. So fees will be like executive fees. Does that help, Yanni? Awesome. All right. So in your notes, you can add a note to say that there was a redistribution agreement. Redistribution. Obviously, I'm just putting in random descriptions here, but this is the type of note that you can include on the L&D account. The redistribution agreement is a very good example of a note that you want to add on the L&D account. So you will say your description is obviously going to be more expansive, and you're going to include it on the L&D account, and you're going to say that is, yeah, I'm not going to say the sort sequence because it's going to add it right at the bottom. Okay, so, but you can also add a note for yourself. If you work on the file, remember to ask about the usufructs. And then you can maybe contact details of relevant person. Okay. I'm just making up stories here, but this is what the notes are for. It's for you to remember things and also for you to add a note in the L&D account. Okay. So that one you won't, that's for yourself. So it's not included in the L&D account. Now the distribution is actually where the main work rests. So, let me show you. So this is where you add a record of a beneficiary, right? So let's say Joey. Joey is a son. He is 930509. Okay, and he also lives at number 123 Street in Belleville, somewhere, Cape Town. I hope there isn't an actual street like that. And contact number. And what is the relationship? It's his son. And here you say it's minor, major, or other. So I'm just going to say major. And he is single. So you won't fill in the spouse's details. Of course, if you were to be married, in what way? Let's do that. Joey is married to Jolene Doe. And her ID is also 930807. And here you specify the gender, female. And what clause in our will? Let's say clause 4. And then there's a pre-populated description that pops up, which you can more than welcome to use. Obviously, it's now your prerogative to expand on the description, or you can just copy and paste your own description in there that is compliant with the L&D account specifications. So I'm just going to say, okay. Now that you've created your beneficiary, now you can insert if it's a residue, if it is a percentage of the residue, if it is an actual value. And you will see the system actually picks up from what you've entered so far, what is available for distribution, which is really good, really nice. This also helps you to reconcile the figures at the end of the day. Okay. So let's say we're going to allocate a value, 100,000 Rand cash. That's a mistake. So 100,000 Rand cash, you can see the options are cash, asset, residue cash, or residual asset. Okay, so you can specify that. Will clause number 4. Oopsie. And you can again change the description as you want. Okay, so I just want to show you if we add another beneficiary, Joey and Jackie Doe, and that's now the daughter. She is a little bit younger. She also lives in 123 Street, Belleville. And contact number, let's say. And she is, she won't be a minor. She is single and will clause 4. Oopsie. No, it must be a different clause, I suppose. Oh, and you have to specify major. Okay, so there's Jackie. So now we're going to insert Jackie's portion. So you can see that the 100,000 you've already put in for the son has already now populated in the next screen. So this shows the flow of the distribution, which is really nice. Okay, so let's say she gets a percentage, 10%, allocate 10%, and it will allocate 10% of the amount available. All right. So allocation type is residual cash, will clause 5. And there we go. And that is just a refresh button. If you have made changes, you can refresh before you say, okay. All right. So now this is the estate duty section. So as you can see, this is pre-populated from the assets, liabilities, and administration costs, creditors, all the information that you have provided. And of course, there will be a 4A abatement if married in community of property, right? And here is your deemed assets now and your section 4 allowable deductions that you must enter here. You can see this amount here pulls through from your assets, and this is your liabilities. And these blocks, the blocks that's showing null value at the moment, is what we are going to capture now. So we're going to do insert again. So here's options. Again, quite expansive descriptions that you can add in here. Deemed assets is the items that are deemed to be an asset for estate duty purposes. It gets calculated, the estate duty is calculated on these amounts, but it doesn't form part of the estate. For example, the best example here, and the one that I'm going to use, is a Momentum life insurance policy, number, and then 98336247, whatever. There we go. So now we're going to say it was for 3.5 million rand. Wait, imagine how much would that premium be? Okay, and sort order. Then section 4 allowable deductions you can add in as well. Again, quite an expansive description. What would be section 4 allowable deduction? Income on no, it will be Jade, if you can help me out there quickly. I had it in my head. It could be a 4A abatement or 4Q, section 4Q. Okay. I'm just going to add it in there. Of course, again, your descriptions are going to be a little bit more expansive. 3,500 rand in sort order 1. Okay, you want to save? Yes. I just want to change this one so that I've got a sort order. Okay. So that is now your estate duty that you can obviously add as much as you can. It's relevant to the deceased. Yeah, 4Q. Thanks, Jade. My brain had a freeze moment there. Income and expenses, right. So this is the income and expenses that are relevant after date of death, right? So again, this would be a data capture. For example, income, interest received of, let's say, 15,654 Rand, voucher number 1, and sort 1. Okay. And then for expenses, maybe accounting fees. Because if you're keeping books, maybe you have an accountant to bring everything together. Just going to say 3.5, voucher number 1 and 1. Okay. So as you can see, also every tab has got a print button now. And then our L&D account. So this is all pre-populated. You can see this is the first and final liquidation and distribution account in the test state estate of Jessie Doe with ID number, born on that day, married by way of anti-nuptial contract with accrual. So that is all the settings that you have provided when you set up the estate. That is the heading of the L&D account. And as you can see, the sequence of events is perfect. We want the immovable property first. You can see your source, your sort number allows you to put it into this perfectly organized sequence. So movable property is then second, and it also distinguishes between assets awarded and assets realized. Of course, the liabilities is in the correct sequence: admin costs, then fees, then claims against the estate. Total liabilities, you can see we also put in a balance line so that you can see that everything has been balanced. There is your recap statement, and there is your distribution. And this also tells you, hey, you haven't captured all the distribution elements because it doesn't balance. You see there? Which I know because I didn't capture everything. But beautiful. Your income and expenditure. So this is obviously the income and expenses tab at the bottom here. Your estate duty is also shown very nicely here, how all the steps compliant with the estate and compliant with the master's office. Of course, if the estate is over 30 million, it will be a higher percentage. The system actually allows for that. And then here is your executrix certificate. And then right at the bottom, redistribution agreement. This is the note that we made that we wanted to highlight or put in the L&D account because we ticked that box, right? So it will show there. Of course, we need quite more of an expansive description here. And you can also attach the redistribution agreement here. Then you can open it up, click on it, it opens, poof, all done, all in the same place. Okay, so that is just from a logistical capturing point of view, how the system operates. You capture assets and liabilities. Recap statement is automatically populated. The notes is either for you to make notes for yourself in the system, or it pulls through to the L&D account. Distribution is according to the will, how the heirs are receiving the money, residue, asset. Estate duty calculate, a estate duty report that shows you how we got to the estate duty figure, income and expenses after death, and then your L&D account. Then what are some other features of this software program? Here you've got your checklist here on the right-hand side. Okay, you can add a new checklist, a checklist that you've already populated. So if there is a specific, because each deceased estate, yes, you get a lot of deceased estates that are very similar in the documentation that you need and the steps that you need to follow, but there could be one or two that is slightly different, and then you create a checklist for that specific one. So if this is just the normal one, this is these are the steps that I need to take in checklist 1. Checklist 2, you can add as many steps as you want, but I've chosen, let's insert checklist number 1. Oopsie. Select. And there is your list. What is nice is you can say, yes, I have done all of these. Okay. And then it will show. It will highlight in green as soon as you have clicked all the steps that is necessary for you to conclude this deceased estate. So it will show you all your green deceased estates here that have been finalized as done. Okay. So that is your templates. You can add a checklist template. You can add checklist number 3 if you wanted to. And then you just add your category. It's a redistribution finalized. What else must we do? Benefit estate duty finalized, yes. We've finalized the liquidation. Select. I also need to make sure that I reconcile my advances, and then you select. Okay. So that's that. Now, another great feature is the executor profiles. So I've set up 2 or 3 already, and as you can see, if executrix have already been set up, you can link that profile to a deceased estate. You can add a new one. Full name is I'll just put in my sister's name. Title, Mrs. Female. And according to what was agreed with this executrix before date of death, is it going to be a percentage? Is it going to be a fixed amount? And based on which one you choose, okay, we've actually said, okay, 2.5% for this one. An executor income fee. So the maximum here is 6%, but anything is negotiable, or it can just be a fixed amount, 5,000 Rand. And that's how you set up your executrix profiles. Now, I know that with a lot of last will and testaments, there's a co-executor or a co-executrix. We are actually going to make provision for that, because we've realized that it actually happens a lot more than what we would that you would think. And in fact, my partner, his last will and testament, he's appointed executrix, but a co-executor is his brother. So, I mean, not as common as you would think. Uncommon as you would think. So we are going to make provision for that, so that you can fill in the details of the co-executor. That is in our phase 2 planning. So today we're going to launch or release the 1A update, which, some fancy new features and just the flow. For example, or estate duty calculator, which is much more expansive than what it used to be, which you can also print. So this estate duty calculator does not have any effect on the information already captured in your program against the specific deceased estate. This is a standalone calculator that you can quickly just give somebody an answer without having now to create a whole person's profile here to get to an estate duty calculation. So this is where you complete all the information and then print, and you can use it as a dummy calculation to get an idea of what the estate duty is going to be, which is really nice. So this is an enhancement we've actually made that is not available in the software now that for the clients that has already bought the software, but we are going to release it today, and your estate duty calculator will then look like this. Then another awesome standalone calculator is the capital gains tax calculator. So this calculator we borrowed or stole from our sister software program, Tax Planner Desktop. So this is fully functional. Again, you can also print it, which is a really nice thing. And of course, you would need to just specify that it is a deceased individual because then the exclusion increases. Or if you want to use the calculator for yourself, for your friend, this is really nice and you can print it. Okay, then reports, estate list. Of course, if you didn't allocate, sorry guys, it's the resolution of the screen. So yeah, just to give you an idea that if you didn't assign, okay, this is your estate list, of course, but on your progress list, if you didn't assign a checklist to a specific estate, then it's not going to show on your checklist. Okay. I just want to quickly fix that again. Just 1 second for me. Didn't realize my big screen was going to cause problems now. I will share my screen again. In fact, maybe I must just show you on my normal screen. I'm going to do that rather, because to give you an idea of. Okay, I'm just moving it to my main screen so that I can show you what it actually will look like. I just want to share my screen again. Here we go. And that is my main screen. There we go. Cool. So that's my main screen. So there. And then if you want to look at your reports, there's your progress report. Oh, much better. And you can obviously make it bigger. Yeah, there. So like I said, if you didn't assign a checklist to a specific deceased estate, it's not going to show up on your progress report. Here you can see, okay, that's all been included in my checklist, all done. And this is a nice way also of keeping track of what task still needs to be done. Okay, cool. So I just want to move this, share my screen back and screen sharing and go back to my main screen, screen number 2. Okay, there we go. All right. Then you can also import, if you've got a list of your estates, you don't want to now go and capture every single one separately. You can insert from CSV. There is a template that we provide. You say EDI import. Oh, processing complete. And then cancel. And then there is all the estates that you've basically, okay, I did it twice now, but you can delete or you can open it up and you can complete the information. Okay. So if you want to start off and you don't feel like capturing all your deceased estates now from scratch, you use the template that we will give you, and you just put in the basic information to create, which will be the ID number, date of death, address, and estate number or name will be obviously, you either need to put it in yourself or you can just use the number system and you can edit it afterwards, and then you are ready to rock and roll. So can do. Obviously, I don't want to talk for hours and hours and hours, but what is next? We want a Rev 204. 267 204, sorry, man. A Rev 267 pre-populated form, which I think is going to be a great add-on, because that form can be quite overwhelming. And then that is now in phase 2 that we're busy with. We've already busy scoping the development work. And then we want to add in a usufruct calculator, because we eventually want to add in the full fiduciary functionality. But for now, because we don't have it, we felt that usufruct's quite a common occurrence, and also quite a complex calculation. So if we can enhance the program by offering a usufruct calculation, the entries that you have to put into the program will then be seamless. So yes, I'm opening the floor for questions. There's a question: how do you insert the heading of an L&D onto each page before you print the L&D? Okay, so Joey, thank you for that message, for the question. So you want the heading to be on each page. I can ask for that to be included in enhancement, but for now it's just on page 1. Jade, I'm talking under correction, because my page wasn't now more than 1 page, so I couldn't tell. Okay, then we've got a question here. Where do we add the fiduciary asset account? So yes, so you could add in under categories, asset, and you can call it a fiduciary asset. Okay. So yeah, so that's up to you. You can describe your fiduciary asset when you set up your categories. Then there is a question: does the program calculate the master's fees? Not at the moment. Pretty basic calculations. We felt we're gonna focus on the more complex calculations. Master's office are quite, how can I say, repetitive and stuck in your head. But yeah, these are actually very nice suggestions. We actually spoke about the master's fee calculation, and we felt that because most of the master's office calculations are same old, everybody must know how to do them. But yeah, I will make a note of that, of course, you as the client, if that's what you want, master's fees, and Joey wants the heading to be on all pages of the L&D. I'm pretty sure it does. I think my L&D wasn't long enough. Okay, Dion, yeah, so I've answered your question there. So yeah, so Jade is saying it's only necessary to have the heading on page 1 legally, but and also according to the master, they accept it like that, but it's completely up to the user. So yeah, I'm happy to add that in. It doesn't sound like a major development plan that needs to take place. I'm sure we can make that happen for you, Joey. And then Sarita's saying we normally add a paragraph below my total assets. Oh, wait. We normally add a paragraph below my total assets. Would it be possible for me to include that? Okay. Again, it is all up to the user, because according to the master's office requirements, the way that ours are just splitting it into what's it awarded and the other one, can't remember now, is compliant. But if you can email me what you want to add in, again, doesn't sound like a big deal. So if it will assist your life and help with your process flow, then sure. Send your suggestion to me and what exactly it is that you want where, and then we will discuss it as a team as to what is a quick fix and what can be implemented quickly. Okay. Surita. So Dion wanted the master's fees, Joey wanted the L&D, Surita wants an extra paragraph under my assets. Yeah, if you can just send me screenshots so that I can understand what it exactly is that you need. Yeah, okay. So Joey, can you export the L&D to insert, change something on the L&D insert note onto or co-executor? Okay, that's like 4 questions in one. Yeah, I hear you. The co-executor is an important thing. Maybe, yeah, if you want to include the co-executor for now, include it in your notes that is then pulled in to the L&D account, like I showed you, where you tick that little box until we've actually added that functionality. It is now in our next steps. Can you export the L&D? So yes, so that is also something that we thought about. Especially because the program doesn't have all the functionality that we want right now. For example, interstate succession. We want to be able to distinguish between test state and interstate. At the moment, it's all test state. But then we also want to add in an interstate functionality. Although the capture of the interstate is exactly the same as the test state, the calculation is quite different. So for that reason, we feel like it would be awesome if you can export the L&D from what you've captured to Excel, and then you add in what is missing, and then you can use it printed to PDF, something like that. Just as a workaround, because we are still putting in features that would enhance and add value to the program. So I'm definitely going to add that in for you, Joey, is the export of the L&D account, so that you can, make it nice before you send it off. Okay, so Jade is also giving some really good advice here. Fiduciary asset account can be manually inserted after the income and expenditure account and before the estate duty. Oh, as a separate tab. Separate tab. Okay. Separate tab for fiduciary assets. All right. Let's see. Good. Thank you. Yes, I've got the master's fees here, Leandri. Oh, something we've thought was like, not big deal. It seems like everybody wants the calculation for the master's fees. Well, we've heard you, and we really appreciate you giving us some sound advice, and also what enhancements to focus on first, to prioritize, to make your lives easier. Of course, we host a demonstration of our program every month. So yeah, you're more than welcome to join, refer people to join, and of course, you will also receive the recording of the session. Is there anything else that I can help you with? I can also give you my email address if you want to, if you can think of other enhancements that you would think would help you to navigate through the system a little bit better. Oh, Leandri saying export to Word and Excel. I forgot. I've got a friend that's been doing L&D account on Word since I met her in 2003, and she believes in the Word document. So let us not forget export to Word and Excel. Okay. No, no problem. Okay, I think that is what I was referring to. Okay, all right, all right. Oh, Jade has got a master's fees link for the calculations. Thank you very much. That is very helpful. Yeah. I suppose it is table, so probably shouldn't be difficult to implement, but I will make these suggestions to the development team. And then, of course, I will give you all the people that's on our database in terms of clients that have purchased the software, I can let you know when we sort of plan to do these enhancements. Cool. Anything else, people? Oh, before I forget, so September is Wills Month in our lives, right? We make a big deal of Wills. Just wish other people did as well. But for September, the software is at a 20% discount. It's for September only. So if you want to take the opportunity to benefit from the special, you're more than welcome to go to our online store or email me. Then, a lot of people ask about hidden costs and is this too good to be true because it feels so cheap. Well, the thing is, we can charge a lot for the software, but if you look at the other software that's in the market, lot is much more expensive, but they've got the functionality and features that we're still building. So we want to be the most cost effective in the market because we don't want to charge you an arm and a leg. We want to keep you for forever as a client. So you pay for the software purchase, which is 2,760 plus VAT for September, which is 3,100 and odd rand. But then the licensing only happens a year after. So next year, if you buy the software today, next year on the birthday of your first purchase, you just need, if you want to use the software for another year, you pay half of the price. So it's less than 2,000 Rand per year to then continue to use the software, which is ridiculous if I think I have to pay 450 Rand for Sage every month. It's 4.5, 5 grand. Okay. Any payment per estate? What does that mean, Vainanda? This is actually an unlimited package. You can add as many estates as you want. I know with other software programs, you could possibly implement tiers. The more estates you add, the higher the price. But we felt, you know what? No, let you add as many as you want. Because where do you start and where do you begin? Some company people have 1 or 2 or 3 estates that they're doing. Others have 30. So it was difficult for us to come up with a tier system. But yeah, this is an unlimited version. Some require per year, you see, yeah, but it makes sense because with our tax software, we do the same. The smaller guy that only does tax for 50 people, obviously we charge them less than the person that's got 1,000 taxpayers. But like I said, we didn't want to go that route. We decided you can add as many as you want. Okay, awesome. Well, that is all from me, people. If you've got any other questions or ideas of what can make this program work for you as it is, fit for purpose in your business, please let us know. The suggestions that came out of the session today was really good. And these were obviously all the items that we thought about. But the fact that you said, look, we actually want that, I can make up a new development plan and then have that ready for you in the next update. Okay, I thank you for your patience and also with the technical issues with my flippant screen, my big screen. I will sort out my issues for the next one. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining and cheers to you.